everyone, to the Film Vault. Dennis Anderson. I'm Bryan Bishop, your host for today. Top 5 coming up later is, of course, the big annual Vaulties. Yes, Vaulties, best of the year.
It's about time.
The Oscars have had their say, but now it's time to put the real list to bed. Top 5 films of the year, or in Anderson's case, top 10, top 15.
Are you still not doing 10?
No, of course not. I'm a purist.
I'm a purist. What does that mean, Brian?
It means I respect the sanctity of the top 5 list. My headphones are way too quiet. There we go.
Brian, you make things so difficult.
Too loud.
All right, this year, just like last year, Mitch. Does this count as an insult? Am I insulting him?
Not yet.
Let's go.
Okay. Last year, Mitch Burns, he created the first ever Film Vault Oscar pool. It's like an office pool, but it's the Film Vault Oscar pool. And it was fantastic. It's a lot of fun. He does it through some kind of, web interface, and you just do it.
I think it's Google Docs.
It keeps track for you.
Canadian internet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So there's like scores and there's like certain categories are weighted. It's all fun. It's all good time. There needs to be a tiebreaker. There should have been a tiebreaker in there because unfortunately we do have a tie at the top.
No.
So we owe 2.
Oh, no.
We owe 2 unless we're to flip a coin on this show and figure out who the actual true winner is. But yeah, there should be a tiebreaker in there. But he goes to great lengths to do fun things for this here program.
Don't put it in your pocket.
Brian, I got the Avery, I also got to yell at you a little bit. Maybe
Love
it's
it.
on me. Perhaps it's on me. But I got many requests from the listeners saying, "Hey, where's this pool I've been hearing about? It's not in the show notes. Where do I find it?"
Oh, I did not have the link to it.
Oh, that's
I wasn't
a
trying
problem.
to get there. Yeah.
That's an issue.
Jesus
That's an
Christ.
issue.
Well, I mean, that's a major problem. We still had decent numbers, I guess, considering it wasn't easily accessible. But
Mitch did a good job of getting a social media like, hey, here's the link.
yeah, there it was. I should have probably shared it with you. Next year it'll be even better. How about that? But today I got
the whole nation on there.
I got the results back, right?
Okay.
Saw how I did compared to like other family members of the program, like DVK. I crushed her. Saw how I did, according to with the other listeners. I saw like who the winners were. I saw the last place. We'll get to all this.
Really?
We'll get to all this. Guess what I didn't see?
What?
You.
No, not
How
on
the
that.
fuck do you not do one?
But I feel like that's inside baseball. It's home cooking. Employees cannot enter like the McDonald's sweepstakes.
For the point of this, Brian, for seeing how you stacked against
well,
the listeners.
no, I don't even know what my score is.
It's a different system,
Avery's
though.
the only one who knows.
It's a different system because the total number of points is possible. Is that what, 51 or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
mean?
It's weighted.
Oh.
Brian, you're just the fucking worst.
Oh well.
Is that an insult?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
I think technically.
textbook.
You being the worst is an insult? I'm sorry, but I love you. You know that.
Anderson's on the coffee. We got some, speaking of piping hot, some piping hot Flickfessions for you. What?
Florence coming in too.
Florence is coming in to review Scream something.
Yeah, I think it's 11. Is it 11?
I don't know if it's double digits yet, honestly. It could be
okay.
number 9.5, kind of like Harry Potter. They split him in half at the end. But we'll talk to her about that.
Add an S to the end. It's like the true fans. You have to actually count the number of S's. Screams.
Oh,
Screams.
Wow, I didn't know that.
No, I'm saying they should.
I'll be flickfesting a film that I've been holding on to for months, but now that it's the Vaulties, my hand is forced. I have to do it. Maybe I ended up my top 5.
Oh, yeah?
Think about that.
That rarely happens.
Really, I don't think it's ever happened.
Happened to me a couple times, especially when I was doing a whole lot of good work over there in cinematics and watching screener links and watching things last minute for that program when I wasn't having any kind of crossover with Flickfessions and movies that I was reviewing on cinematics, which is no longer the case. I'm only on there once a month now because we got Eric Holmes and Bruce Perky taking over for me, which lightens the load.
Momentous.
Yeah, so I can do 4 movies over here again.
All right. Look at you.
So I don't have any surprises.
Pump it up.
Except for the end of the year when we do the best old new. Then I got some surprises.
Then it's hey, here's one you haven't heard of before.
Because I still do that for the old cinematics. Oh, I'm excited about the Vaulties this year.
So am I. Can I tell you that? Can I give you a little insight into how my list went? I was picking up movies from the year. I was like, that's definitely on the list. It's maybe on the list. Wow, I can't believe I'm considering that for the list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There were a couple of that were like, wow, I did not expect that to be on there. And then I realized I have a theme going. I didn't even know it. All my films,
are fun.
every single one.
Fun.
Yes,
Oh,
we're
right.
fun. Fun movies. This is the fun movie year. How'd you guess that?
Because halfway through the year, you made a proclamation, I think in text to Avery and I hereby announce that I will now be rating films purely on the amount of fun moving forward.
Totally forgot about
2022 is the year of fun and fun only.
You know what? I forgot about that, but goddamn, whoever that bald man was that texted you was right, because this is the year of fun movies.
But it wasn't, so that's a problem.
It was for me.
I had a number on my list that I was like, I can't believe that this is not going to be on the list. I have a very lengthy also ran. We talked about this a little bit on the Oscar. Oh, that was a lot of fun, by the way, everyone who joined us for the Oscar party.
Thanks for joining us for the watch along.
Yeah, I think it's a new thing. Next year we'll be doing it. We'll even have like some more like prizes. I forgot to bring my fake Oscar, which is like a exact replica of an Oscar. That would have been fun to have on hand. But yeah, thanks for everyone who hung out, and it was a good time reading the thread, and it feels like we're all a big community, a little community.
I agree.
It's fun watching with you guys. But what was I? I was somewhere.
You were somewhere. You were saying you were surprised you left off certain movies. You have a long also ran.
Long also rans. Oh yeah, what we were saying on that while watching the Oscars was it's like a deep year of the draft. It's like a deep draft.
Not top heavy, not a lot of greats, not a lot of future Hall of Famers.
Not necessarily like any generational talent, with the exception of maybe one or probably one. Yeah. Which isn't, it's barely in my top 5, but I recognize it as a generational talent. But yeah, the breadth of movies. I got like 20 that could have probably been in the top 5 or 10 most years. So many
films jousting for that coveted top 5 or 10, 15.
Movies, yeah. Many left off the list. I can't believe they're off the list.
Did you? Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe this seemed like a weak year for documentaries. In the previous years, I got a whole top 5 out of documentaries.
I don't have any.
I don't have any either.
I got 0. Yeah. There's been years where documentaries were number 1.
Yeah.
Won't You Be My Neighbor? Number 1.
Number 1.
Film of the year. Says me. Documentary.
Sugarman. Not number 1.
No. Not like didn't crack my top 10, let's be honest, but for you perhaps, because it made you feel good.
It's number 1 and 2.
All right. Did we mention we're going to be talking to Florence later in the program?
Yes, we did.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get to it. Oh, one last thing, so I don't forget, and you will forget, but we will be watching Ginger Snaps for Danny Leffler. Ginger Snaps, Danny Leffler. We owe Danny Leffler
in our watch alongs,
and she has assigned us Ginger Snaps, which you and I will be watching by this time next week, and we will be flickfessing it, and let's do that.
This will not be the first time it comes up, but do you enjoy ginger snap cookies?
I mean, they're okay.
I like them.
I don't like the taste, like the sharpness in the back of my throat after I'm done with some ginger. A little too much sometimes.
Do you like candy corns?
No.
See, I do. I feel like
I don't hate them.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a commonality there. And the certain flavors that bite a little bit.
Candy corn is just nothing but sugar, so that's my problem. There's no nuance there. No nuance. Speaking of lacking nuance, let's talk movies.
Oh yeah, what have the listeners seen?
I don't think there is one this week, right?
There is not.
No.
So let's get straight to ours.
Good. We got a lot to talk about. We don't need those listeners getting in our way.
You already announced what we'll be talking. It doesn't matter. It's in the show. It's in the goddamn
yes,
title.
Florence has been mentioned.
Did you say that we're going to be talking to Florence later?
That is on the menu.
Bryan,
Speaking of the menu,
what'd you see? You see anything new this week?
Oh, buddy. All right, where do I start? All right, let me start off with a movie that you did not see. I don't think.
Great.
I caught up with Living. Finally caught up with Living, the 2022 remake of Ikiru, the beloved Ikiru that we saw in Ikiru. Directed by Oliver Hermanus, starring Bill Nye as Mr. Williams. 96% of Rotten Tomatoes. You can rent this. Nominated for Best Actor and Best Adapted Screenplay. It won neither one. I only want to talk about this in the sense that, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot, but Ikiru. Hey, Anderson, look at me.
Yes.
I know you normally do that, but I need to engage you
here. They involve the show, though. Is that
okay?
Right?
No, it's not, because I need to actually engage you with a question.
Okay, I'm still thinking about them, even though I'm looking at you, okay?
The movie Ikiru. Akira Kurosawa's Ikiru. What do you remember, scene-wise? So what scene or scenes jump out at you in your memory from Ikiru?
Him sitting at the desk, surrounded by the paper, for sure.
But like a scene where something happens.
Oh, where something happens?
Not bunny, images. Like
the bunny scene. Mm-hmm. Many of the scenes at the end, which I can't talk about at all, so I don't know if you're trying to trap me here.
No, not at all. I'm sure. I'm
obviously the one that's going to stick with everybody. Anyone who's seen it is the swings, the swing. But it's not even the most powerful. The thing that I liked the most about that was the structure of Ikiru, where they had all of the businessmen sitting around the table recounting various scenes. I mean, that's That's what I.
So yeah,
take away.
that is one of the three that always stick with me. The other two are the women getting the runaround at the office. You know what I mean? You got to see this department, got to see that department, got to see this department, and they end up where they started.
The montage.
Yeah, the montage of being sent around, the red tape, the bureaucracy.
That was Andrew Barton, by the way, who forced us to finally watch Akira.
Oh, okay. Well, credit where it's due. Thank you for doing that. And also the scene where he is, quote unquote, diagnosed at the doctor. The doctor makes a very curious choice.
Mm-hmm.
All three of those scenes, the wake, basically, where they're telling stories about Mr. So-and-so.
Livingston.
That's not what it is. Like, is that what it is? For a second, he almost had me. Like, really? The doctor scene and the runaround scene are all changed in this remake, which very much disappointed me because those can be done better or different or take your spin on them, but they're all changed for the worse.
That could be intimidation because Kurosawa is like one of the all-time
master,
greats, and
right?
maybe they didn't want to tread. You know what I mean? Don't remake the movie. Oh, actually, it's a movie that kind of needed to be remade, right?
It is weird.
Don't do it. It needs to be remade.
That's what I'm kind of saying.
That was in the same sentence I changed.
If you're gonna
Duality of man.
if you're gonna remake a classic, keep the things.
That
I'm
work.
not saying do it exactly, but keep the things that make it special.
Yeah.
Those three scenes from the original, like, are in my memory forever. I love those scenes, and now it's like they changed each one of them for the worse. It's like a watered down version.
I hate when that happens. You know, I think his name's Sam Baer. Is that his name? He was a schlocky horror director, and he remade Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was the first of the remakes, like years ago, probably 15 years ago now. And I went and I saw it begrudgingly, and like all the stuff that worked in the first one was completely nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found.
Frustrating. So the movie works. I guess it's 3 stars because it's a good story, but the stuff that made the first one special is just nowhere to be found. Like the final act, like that final, the thing you alluded to, where the businessmen are all sitting around talking.
They changed that?
Yeah, now it's it's like 4 of his coworkers on a train in a train car, and it goes on for like 4 minutes.
What?
It's not the third act. It's like a little part of the third act. It's and it's just why would you do that? Yeah, you should all skip living.
So what you're saying is that people should watch the original.
Yeah,
2.5 hour
original.
What a fucking hipster you've become.
I know.
Look at this.
But yeah, you know, it reminds me.
It's only taken 20 years.
Imagine this happening 10 years ago, Bryan.
Kind of like Manchurian Candidate. The remake I would never foist upon anyone.
Mm-hmm. Was that what was it? What was it called? Q.
What do you mean?
What was it? Manchurian Candidate. The remake, was it just called Manchurian Candidate?
I think it was.
It was
it's the one with Denzel. I think it was just.
What's his face from Demi from Signs of the Lambs.
Jonathan Demme.
Yeah.
Wait, Denzel did a remake. He was in another remake. And
Wasn't he in one?
they
Manchurian
changed the
Candidate?
name though. It wasn't Manchurian Candidate. It was called Q. Or
John
something.
Q?
John Q. What is John
Well,
Q?
he was in a movie called John Q.
What is John Q?
I don't know. That's
Is that a remake or something?
He was in a movie. He was in The Manchurian Candidate, 2004.
Yes, we established that. Anderson is hung up on the fact that Denzel was also in a movie where they changed the name.
Yes. All right.
The title.
I saw a movie that I was very excited about. Are we moving on from Living?
Yes,
from your middling
yes.
review of Living, why we start with Living, which is like, I don't know, 3 months old, and yesterday's news.
Well,
It's
that's
bizarre.
actually, it only just became available to rent.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe the Vaulties. Who knows?
Right.
So we had to get that off the top. Don't
Yes.
rent. Do not
Sure.
rent.
Don't-
That's a
I'm
good.
performing a service.
I agree. I'm totally on board with you, Bryan.
All right, what
Did
do
you see
want to
anything
talk
in the theater this week?
about? I did not actually. Anderson, I've been held hostage by your Flickfession model for the last 2 months. I need to see movies for the Vaulties and for the Oscars, and here we are. So tell me what you
I
see.
don't understand why I'm holding you hostage.
Been doing 2 and 3 listener-assigned movies a week. I have no
This
time.
week,
to
how many did we see this week?
I have no time.
How
to
many
get-
times?
Just the one.
How many?
Just the one.
Just
the
one.
one.
It was a movie that I was very excited to see, and I have seen it, and it's called Champions. Champions is a new Bobby Farley movie in theaters now. It's starring Woody Harrelson, Caitlin Olsen. You also got Matt Cook in there, Ernie Hudson. You got
Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny.
Caitlin
I had
Olsen.
that mix up on the Oscars.
You did, yes, you did.
We messed that up.
We.
And you know what? It's the film vault. It's a collective.
You thought Elizabeth Olsen was on
Caitlin
It's Always
Olsen.
Sunny. It felt, it was very uncomfortable and confusing for all. Cheech Marin is also in this. Those are the names you'd probably know. The cast is rounded out fairly effectively, I would like to say, by a group of IDD adults, young adults, mentally challenged adults, intellectually, developmentally disabled adults, delayed adults, and from Down syndrome to various different causes, from birth to like issues at birth to sometimes it could be brain injury. I mean, the whole idea though is these guys are not cognitively like up to our where
they're impaired.
Yeah, they're impaired, and I tread lightly because I love this community, and
It's well established.
one of my guys who I work with weekly is in this, and he actually had one of the funniest lines. There's some really funny lines in this movie. When I say there are some, probably 5.
Okay,
And
that's
it's
a
a
lot
comedy?
for a 2-hour comedy. Watch.
Yeah, it's pretty long. So here's the gist. Woody Harrelson, he's a hot-headed like minor league professional basketball assistant coach. He's looking to break through and become an NBA coach at some point. He loses his temper for like the second, third time. He has a bad night. He gets arrested for driving while impaired. He did something that I have done actually in real life in the movie
Driving
too,
while
which is
impaired?
pretty sweet. No, it's
Pretty sweet.
I'll never forget. Dumb fuck that I am was driving home from high school. It was like I had my license for not even a week. I'm not kidding. That's not an exaggeration. I had my license for maybe 6 days. And I'm driving home from high school. I got a bunch of friends in the car. And cops, there's like 3 of them. They pulled over these guys. I'm like, look at these fucking guys. These poor sons of bitches. And smash. I just plowed into a truck while I was watching the cops, being thankful that I wasn't being harassed by them. So the cops watched the whole thing happen. So that's what happens to Woody. He's like, these poor sons of bitches. Well, he's drunk, and then he hits one of the cop cars, which is a little bit worse than what I did. So he gets mandated. He gets sentenced to 90 days community service being a basketball coach for a Special Olympic basketball team. And that's where, one thing leads to another, and you can pretty much see the writing on the wall from the beginning. It's very, very predictable, which is fine.
The wall.
He does not molest the wall. What?
Them all.
Oh, them all. I love you all. No, he doesn't molest anyone in the troll hole and the boys. All that's fine.
Okay, good.
Speaking of It's Always Sunny. Woody's great. Kaylin's fantastic. And what ultimately this is it's like a rom-com, kind of parading, masquerading as something. It is very different with this cast. It just doesn't say anything much beyond like, hey, it's fun, it's good times, and these guys are a lot of fun. And it's like it's the stereotypical cliched paint by number like old cranky man, and then he gets one over. You see it coming from a mile away. There's like one twist in there maybe, which is interesting. It's a very sweet movie. I wished it was a little bit more, but that's not what they're going for here. I think they probably hit fairly close to what they were going for. I wish there was a little bit more meat on the bone, but as far as the performance you get from his basketball team, fan-fucking-tastic.
Nice.
I absolutely. There's one guy named Showtime. That's the character's name. Bradley Edens is is the actor's name, and a lot of these guys are first-time actors, as you'd imagine. Matthew, my guy, Von Der A. Matthew Von Der A. I got to figure out how to say his name. Von Der A. Matthew crushed it. He's been in a lot of things, but. Showtime, his whole thing is all he wants to do is like his name's Showtime, and he like shoots it like over his head, like at the free throw line, but he doesn't look, and then backwards, and never touches the rim, misses every time. But then he does the big balls thing, like he knows all of the celebrations, all the moves, like he's an expert at all the moves that the NBA guys do. Like you got a lot of little moments like that in this movie. I would have liked even more of them, but then you also have like the corny, cheesy, like Lifetime movie stuff where it's like they're they're partying at the hotel, and like they're. Like somebody's on skis and they're all pulling her, and there's crazy music going on. And Woody Harrelson's like, "What's going on? You guys are supposed to be asleep, and there's a big game tomorrow." And they're like, "Yeah, coach." It's like that kind of zaniness, which is just like, wow. But
forced zaniness.
It's a PG-13 movie. You could tell it didn't have a whole lot of teeth, but it's sweet, and I hope it does well because it's one of my comps for the movie that I have been working on for many years now.
Should people go out and see this if they're not like A-list members or something for AMC?
Should they spend their money on it?
Yeah,
I think what you do is you bring your kids.
For the sake of Andy's career, yes.
Bring your kids to this.
Say loudly in the middle of the movie, I wish there was more of this.
That's a very odd ad campaign for my.
That's really grassroots.
Was this directed by Anderson Cowan?
No, don't say that. But yeah, I think maybe Bobby could. I don't know what happened. Do you know what happened with the brothers? Like, why they don't make movies together anymore? Are they?
That's a really good question.
It's not a great question. I probably could have figured it out, but
Let's see what Google has
Google
to say.
Farrelly Brothers Fallout.
this movie is just a little too paint by numbers. But you know what? It's probably going to hit with the lowest common denominator. No, not the community.
Oh, that's really a mean way to describe them.
No, I'm talking about just like the typical type of person who might go on a date and see this movie. And, unfortunately, I was the only person in the theater.
We'll look for this on a streaming service, perhaps.
It'll probably be out in 2 weeks. But go see it in the theaters. There's some really fun, sweet moments.
Yeah.
Sweet movie.
Trapped there for 2 hours. Do you want to talk about something we've both seen?
Sure, why not?
I don't know what that might be. Women talking.
Oh,
Women be talking. Women be talking. Women Talking is a 2022 film written and directed by Sarah Polley, starring Rooney Mara, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Judith Ivey, Sheila McCarthy, Frances McDormand, and Ben Whishaw.
So brave.
Is Ben the only male with speaking part?
No makeup.
Oh no, the little boy. I think those little boys.
Little boy might have come in, and they couldn't really get much out of him though.
90% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, really?
Where'd you watch this?
I would have assumed 100. Yeah, I watched this at my home.
No, I'm saying you rented or you stream it. Would you?
I can't even remember.
Did you pay? Okay.
I think I got a link.
I think you can rent this.
I believe, and I watched it on my computer, so I believe I got a link.
Based on oh my god!
And it's unfortunate because this is a big screen movie. You should really watch this on the big screen.
Based on the 2018 novel of the same name.
I'm joking.
This is a true story. The cinematic majesty of being trapped in the top deck of a barn for 90 minutes. This is the true story of a Mennonite colony in Bolivia.
Oh, it is a true story. I didn't know it was a true story.
But it actually happened in Bolivia.
Okay. All right.
Which changes
All right, this changes things for me. I should have known that it was I should have done my research, Brian. I'm glad that you bring this. All right, I'm going to shut up, go back 30 seconds, and pretend that I knew. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
true story.
Totally, Bolivia. This one Best Adapted Screenplay at this year's Oscars. And this is a great example of truth in advertising. This movie is all about women talking. Relentlessly, I would add.
Yenta's Yapping was the original title, which they decided to
I didn't come
scale
across
back.
that in my research.
That would be very insensitive and wrong, and kind of probably send the wrong message of this movie. I love the acting of this movie. I absolutely appreciated it. There were some great tense moments. I love Sarah Polley. I've seen her past work is very good as well. This seems like another one of these movies that's going to cause more harm than good, which I've been yelled at for saying things like this.
Misery?
Like just women seeing this, they're just like, yeah, that's what men are like. And it's like, it's the worst of the worst, really, with one guy who's a total beta, who's not the greatest representation for either side. But
women are well developed, the men less so.
But it's like, so the story is the women and their children have been getting brutally raped and drugged with horse tranquilizer for years, and they were told that it was
systemic rape.
Yeah,
I came in at a weird part from looking at the Farrelly brothers. I missed the entire lead up to that.
We moved on, Avery.
That's how I've heard.
And when these mothers and sisters find out about it, and obviously they're enraged, and because of the tight-knit community and the rules that they have within their community, the men were taken into town and put in jail, but then they were bailed out, and the women had a choice to make, like whether they're going to apologize.
It was a very brief and not effective punishment.
Right, not at all. So now we have 12 angry women essentially up in this barn, deliberating for 90 minutes plus, right?
Oh, at least, yeah.
And
I didn't look it up.
I'm not going to sit here and say it was boring. It was just kind of frustrating that there wasn't.
You know what? You're right. It wasn't boring. You're thinking like this could fall into the boring category, but I was never bored. I admired this movie more than I enjoyed it.
It's not to be enjoyed. I don't think, Brian. I don't think that was their aim.
It wasn't fun.
No,
there was one.
This doesn't stand a chance in Brian's
fun part at the beginning, but after that, nothing.
One of the best drops I've heard, and I think I talked to you about this during the Oscars as well. But for the first time in years, I wished I was still playing drops for a nationally syndicated radio program. One of the little girls, one of the very young girls, she's probably 10 or 11. I think she was speaking for the audience at this point because it was kind of going on at one point, and she just stops. She says, "This is very, very boring."
Yeah, she was proxy for the audience.
I would love to use that and just just upset hosts for years with that drop. But okay, so my main problem with it, and if it's based on a true story, I can't even complain. But these kinds of movies, I think, suggest that like all of a group of type of person is bad. And that's what this movie is kind of saying. Like all men are bad. There's no other dudes stuck up for him. Not one, except for
so
the beta.
we should point out that in the context of the film, the women in this entire Mennonite colony are very isolated. It takes them days to get into town. They don't know anyone else. They can't read. They can't write. So in a sense, if you're projecting the view of the characters, yeah, all men are monsters.
Yes,
because that's all they know.
But
they know that and Ben Winshaw.
And
the actor.
Beta Winshaw?
Yeah.
You think there'd be one other, at least, and we didn't get to see, we don't know what was going on in town with the men, right? That they just, it had been decided that they had to apologize. What do they have to apologize for? Or forgive them? They had to forgive them.
The years of rape.
They had to forgive them, right? They had to publicly forgive them within the community, or they had to leave. That was their choice.
No, there were three choices. One was stay and fight.
And that was what they came up with. That wasn't what the men said. Hey, you can forgive these guys and move on with your lives, or you can bail. That was what the men told them to do. Now, I would have liked to just see like another guy in town saying, "Hey, guys, this is kind of horrible. We should probably get rid of these rapist fucks that have been drugging children and fucking them." You know what I mean?
It's been a couple of months since I saw it, but I was under the impression the men did not give them permission to leave because that's why they left in the middle. They were going to leave in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that got a little bit convoluted, and I think it's because they were trying to avoid personal beatings from a few of the husbands which one. Well, we're getting too much away.
It's got to be hard to re-recruit women into this in this convent or our community or whatever. If your bitches leave, how many Mennonites are there in Bolivia?
Yeah, what are they going to do now? Oh, what are they going to do? Yeah. Oh, the poor ladies that stay. A couple of them did.
McDormand. Oh, shit.
We just gave the whole fucking movie.
I really did.
What are we doing? Shit.
That was a mistake. You know what? Forget I said that.
All right. I appreciate this movie. I think that...
Take some horse tranquilizer.
That was an egregious one.
I know if I'm a woman watching this, I just fucking hate men for like at least a day or two after I watch it, right? It's like...
Oh, I hated myself the whole time. Yeah, totally. Look what I kept saying to myself, look what you've done.
I wonder if Florence has seen it.
Well, let's ask her.
All right. Yeah. Should we call Florence? Let's take a quick little break here and confuse Bryan. And then
we're taking a break to get Florence.
We're going to take a quick little break. Okay. And then we'll come back and we'll talk Florence. We'll talk a little Scream 3, see if Scream 9, whatever it is. And we'll see if she's seen the 12 Angry Women. Turn me on. Yeah. Hi. Yes, I can hear you. We're at a break right now, so Avery just marked it, and we'll get some levels on her. Can I see her a little bit louder, just to see how she sounds? Let's see your level there, Florence. A little louder. 1 2 1 2 3. All right, that'll work. Yeah, we just want to have you on real quick to say hello. The listeners miss you, and check in, see how things are going. Talk Scream, of course. We'll try and figure out one of your main jobs is going to be tell us which Scream it is. That's an Avery wave. And then also, have you seen Women Talking? Okay, we'll yell at you for that, for being a bad woman and not having seen that. Okay, cool. So we'll be on in a second, and it's just you can see me, I can see you, but other than that, it's not going to be on the feed because it's not going through like that. Okay, cool.
Welcome back. Time to welcome back to the show once again, Florence Bremer, who's going to enlighten us with some thoughts on Scream something. A Scream movie that just came out. Unseen by us, but seen by her. Let's pot her up if you could. Florence, are you there?
I'm here, Bryan.
Nice. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, too.
In a sentence or two, how did you enjoy the Oscars?
I didn't see the Oscars.
Well
I was
done.
at a hockey game.
She was at a hockey game. Wow, how strange
Ooh,
is that?
nice.
She's seen the Yotes, the Coyotes.
How about that?
Which is strange. You must have got suckered into that. Somebody who you couldn't have said no to must have asked you to go, right?
Yes, my good friend George is a season ticket holder, and I haven't seen him in a while, so he invited me.
Guys got season tickets. You can go to any game you want to.
Season ticket holder, movie hater is what he is. So for those of you who might not know, Florence is a member of the program. She's a often contributor. She comes on and does red light, green light with us. She also practices law out there in Phoenix.
And horror aficionado.
She's a horror aficionado. She loves her horror films. So we might be doing this if she's available and game, because Bryan and I miss more horror movies than we see, for sure. So, first of all, I already know the answer to this, but do you have a chance to support your fellow filmmakers and other ladies, strong women, and watch Little Women Talking?
I did not.
I'm sure they are hurting for that.
Florence, was hockey more important than women?
No, what she'd rather watch them get stabbed to death in movies like Scream.
That's right. Women as prey.
Stick up for
Actually,
themselves.
kind of the same.
Women in prayer, the same.
Women as prey.
I know. I
In
will
both films.
forever see. I will pick horror over any other type of movie anytime.
You're speaking a lot of people's language.
Well, that leads us right into Scream. This is number 6.
6. It says it right there in the
6. Yep.
Okay.
Cleverly, and the M turns into a V1.
Now, set this up for us, Florence. What are your thoughts on the Scream franchise? Do you enjoy them all? Have you enjoyed some more than others? What's your take?
I've enjoyed them all. I don't think there is a stinker in the bunch. I know you guys are going to laugh at me, but
No.
I really like them. This one was, I had such a good time watching this movie. They really are leaning into it being a franchise now. And they have a great young cast. The only OG that really came back was Courtney Cox. She was in it very little. Nev Campbell was not in it because of a salary dispute, but I didn't feel she was missed. Hayden Panettiere was in it. She was in Scream 4, so she came back. Her character is back. And then Skeet Ulrich is back as a ghost like he was in Scream 5. Not really a ghost.
Was he in 5?
Of a vision.
He was in. It's so impressive that you can keep these separated. When I was researching for the Volties this week, I'm like, oh my God, Scream 2022 came out 2022. I just saw that less than a year ago or so. Like it escapes me. And
Everyone I know who likes horror has an encyclopedic knowledge, can name every Jason movie and the nuances of every single one, all the Friday the 13th, and it's remarkable to me, down to every last character in detail.
my brain is so simple. Once you get past 2, once it becomes like a third movie, it just all starts to meld together. And so good on you, Florence, for putting that law brain to use with the Scream movies. So what worked with the movie, and do you suggest people who aren't even horror fans to go out and see it?
That's the real question.
Oh, if you're not a horror fan, probably not. But if you have even seen one of the Scream movies and liked it a little bit, you'll like it. It really does go back on the history of the other 5 movies. So you do have to have some knowledge of Scream. It was an uptick of everything, like an uptick of kills, an uptick of gore, good comedy in it. I just thought it was good all the way around. It was a really, really pleasant afternoon that I had watching Scream 6.
I've seen every single one of them.
No, you have not.
I have.
You have?
Every single one.
Oh.
Until this one, and I don't know.
Well, you got to keep it going, man.
No, because it's too recent. No, I don't, because the reason I saw like the first 3. I'm like, oh, cool, trilogy, and then like the 4th one came out like years after that, right? I'm like, oh look, it's back, and then this 5th one came out like years and years after that. You can't get me every year. Is that what they're going for now? They're like, oh, okay, it's Scream Week. No, I can't. If it's like once every 5-10 years, I'm in.
It's a celebration.
All right.
There is some really fun things in this movie. There's this one set in the movie that's super great that is, I don't even want to say anything about it because it was like such a pleasant surprise. Like I was like delighted by this set. Samara Weaving, who we all like,
Sure.
was in the movie.
Nice.
And she was in Ready or Not by the same director team who directed this Scream and the Scream before.
Yeah, I knew that. And that's why son of a bitch. Yes.
And Jenna Ortega's in it, and I feel like Jenna Ortega has been in every single movie that's come out in the last 2 years, and so she was a delight as well. And it just was good. Dermot Mulrooney was in it. Like there was a really, really good cast. I thought it was so fun. My daughter said my youngest said she really liked the soundtrack, and she downloaded it and has been listening to it. So I don't know. It was a fan favorite with my house.
All right. I'll watch this one when it becomes streaming or
will you?
Because I loved Ready or Not, and then I liked the last Scream as well, and it's the same director team that did that. That's what also got me like off the couch and into the theater to see what they would do.
If you like the last Scream, you like this Scream.
Oh, so this is the second one with the newish cast then, Florence. Is that true?
It is. Yep, it sure is,
Okay.
Avery. Hi, Avery.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
I have a question for you, Florence.
Sure.
I'm always curious. I do like horror movies quite a bit. Barbarian is one of my favorites, save for Vaulties. But why don't more of these movies come out in October? Why does it seem, especially some of these big franchise movies, come out nowhere near Halloween? Is there a reason for that? Do they just like having them year round for the horror fans?
I have no idea. A ton always seem to come out in January and February,
Which seems
usually
odd.
is a dumping ground.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You think you would release them in October when everybody's all geared up for Halloween? I have no answer for that.
I think I do because I have an answer for everything. My friends call me the answer
Let's
man.
hear it.
All right,
Andy, the answer man.
a lot of time Scream isn't the greatest example of this, but a lot of horror films are made on the cheap. This one too, because Neve Campbell, like the studio wanted to slash her money, right? Get that? And so they kept it cheap. That
You
was
want to
at a
stab
budget.
her money.
They wanted to stab her money down. So what? It's kind of like an open field
She's trying to bleed 'em dry.
for January, February, because there's not a whole lot of heavy hitters. So there's not a lot of competition for these horror movies, so the horror fans can go out and see them. They're going to do some business.
So
And
low
then-
risk, high reward.
Yeah, and then they get to release them a few months later, like on the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
And then by the time Halloween comes around, they can
Readily available.
make them put them back down for rent, or so they can kind of get 3 hits
Look
throughout
at
the
you.
year.
Look
If you only release
Interesting.
them in the theaters around Halloween time, you're going to get 1 hit that year. So this gives you 3.
Well put.
Okay.
Hey, Florence, so the Rotten Tomatoes score is 77. Do you have it above or below? Or is that about right?
I would say it's about right.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. And if anyone else is looking, if they saw Scream and are looking for another release that came out recently, there was a movie called Fear that was released in 2023. It came in January 2023. It came and went at the movies. It has a super low Rotten Tomatoes score, but I don't think the score represents the movie.
All right.
It has a good cast. I would categorize it as one of those COVID movies that Anderson has referenced where it's sort of one location. And it is a group of friends who rents out a hotel during a pandemic. I don't think they ever use the words COVID, but there is a pandemic in the world in this movie, and they rent out a hotel to celebrate for the weekend. And I thought it was a really well done movie, something I really enjoyed. So I recommend that as well.
All right.
And that was an early release, and it just came and went at the movies, and I think was dumped in January. But go back and see it. If you like Scream, go back and watch Fear.
Was that the one that was that got big on TikTok from some of the clips? What was that one from 2020? I mean, I may even think of 2022 actually.
It's a good contribution.
Thanks.
Hey, it was another horror movie. I thought Florence might know. We got the expert here.
Now this is different from the Mark U. Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon movie where he's screaming to be let in the fucking door, right?
Yes.
Very different.
They
Very
actually, like when you look it up on IMDb, it says Fear and then in parentheses 2023.
And then it's different from the punk rock band Fear with leaving on the lead vocals.
Yes, it's definitely.
It's also different from
Florence is referencing a feature film. You're talking about a band.
Getting confused with the title.
Skinamarink is what I was thinking of.
Skinamarink is, yes.
Skinamarink is what I was thinking.
Skinamarink is, many listeners have told me that I have to see that. Many listeners have told me that I absolutely do not have to see that. Have you seen Skinamarink while we got you on here, Florence, before we let you go?
No, I haven't. My daughters watched it over the weekend, and they said it was such a dud and so boring.
Oh, really?
Don't bother.
True horror fans are saying that, I think.
That's not a good sign.
And I shouldn't say that because I'm sure some true horror fans are listening. They're like, fuck you, Anderson. I absolutely loved it. But I've heard that from a few true horror fans. I guess it's kind of like almost like a tone poem for horror films. You got to really be in the... Andrew Martin, once again, he told me to just watch the trailer 4 times and
that's it?
in succession, and it'll give me a real idea of what the movie feels like.
Would it work for Cocaine Bear?
How did Cocaine Bear not have cocaine on his nose at the Oscars? I mean, it was such a layup.
Yeah, it was right
Just
there.
put some like white powder on that bear's nose for effect, and then have him take off the hat and have it be like Pee Wee Herman in there or something.
I think the censors were probably saying you're lucky we let you call it Cocaine Bear at all.
Yeah, it's network TV. Although he could have produced like a powdered donut. Do you know what I mean? To sort
Yeah,
of
that
give
could
the
have been.
plausible deniability.
Well, hey Florence, you
Let's
doing
get Jimmy Kimmel on the phone.
doing all right? Everything good?
Yes, really good news on my brother. He got a call on Friday that the radiation and the chemo.
No one. I don't think anyone knows. I haven't even really said anything. I've just been saying that we've been thinking about you.
Well,
but
let me tell everybody. So, about 6 weeks ago, my brother was diagnosed with lung cancer, which is also in his brain.
Oh,
And
His lungs are in his brain?
Anderson, please.
The cancer.
Oh, okay.
Sensitive topic.
Sorry.
And we were so scared, obviously. And he has really great doctors. He's doing radiation and chemo, and he'll start infusions after the radiation and chemo. And already the tumor in his lung is shrinking. So we are so happy and feel really blessed. And a lot of people have reached out to me because you have, let people know that I've been going through something, and I've heard from some people with their well wishes, and I really appreciate that. But it seems like it's getting better, so we keep praying. And he has a really good spirit and a really good heart. He's just the best guy in the world, so we're just very, very hopeful at this point.
Stupid cancer.
Sounds like he's off to a good start. If the tumor initially is shrinking, that's success lies ahead, I think.
Yes, we really, really hope so. And I bought him your book, Bryan, and his girlfriend's been reading it to him. He can read,
I was gonna say.
but it's just a little bit easier for him because he's been having some headaches. And
I thought you were trying to help him get better, Florence. I don't know why you're
Yeah, seriously, put
suffering
an
through
early
Brian's
grave.
book.
Yeah, seriously. Florence, I gotta send you a book for God's
making him
sake.
feel better.
No, Florence wants to support. I told her the same thing. I said, I can send you my copy. It's just missing the forward, I told her.
That's right.
But she could.
Smells
she could
like
have
dog
that.
poop.
But yeah, Florence, that's great news. I did not even know that. I could tell that you've been in better spirits, and I'm glad to confirm my suspicions. So it's great.
Thank you. And I hope to still see you guys in April. I'm coming out in April, and maybe we can get together and do some fun film vault things.
Yes,
I'm busy that day, but Anderson is all
Hey, I didn't even tell you the day.
That's a really good point.
Brian's jokes.
You caught me again.
Jokes.
Florence, tell people where they can find you, your podcast, your stuff, your law firm, all that stuff.
Sure. You can find me on my website, brummerlaw.com, and my podcast is the Bonafide Legal Podcast.
And it is very good. I mean, it's more Florence, more like this, but she sounds even better because she's on her phone right now. That's our fault for kind of cold calling her like this. But yeah, it's just a really good listen, and she's just so well spoken and nice and friendly. It just puts you in a good mood. And I'm sorry that I'm frozen on our FaceTime right now. I'm not actually like just holding my microphone that entire time, Florence. Just to let you know, I'm frozen, so I'm not really frozen. Okay.
No problem.
Great talking to you as always, Florence.
Bye, Florence.
Good talking to you guys too.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Bye, Florence.
All right. Thanks, Avery,
All
for
right.
facilitating that. First time. We'll do that from time to time when Florence, when there's a big horror film. And I don't want to have her on for Red Light, Green Light like that because, she deserves better. But if we need a quick check-in for, if Texas Chainsaw Massacre 11 is coming out or something soon, maybe
Can't
we can
wait.
or if Pearl 5 is coming out. I was going back and forth
Pearl 5.
with Gio.
Maxine with 3 X's.
Gio was telling me we're just going back and forth. Gio gets a lot of super fan Giovanni. Get this, he's a giant fan of Last of Us.
Oh, really?
What is he not a fan of?
Gio's not a casual fan of anything.
No, he's not. So he's going on and on about because it's based on a video game, right? And everyone's losing their shit over the Last of Us. They think it's the greatest thing ever. It's okay. It's.
I've heard great things from Gio.
I kind of have to agree with you, Anderson. It's very good, but I don't know. I don't need to recommend it to anybody who doesn't really like zombie stuff.
It's
I don't think it transcends the way Game of Thrones transcends fantasy.
I mean, that was a zombie fucking show as well, right? At the end of the day, it's a zombie
episode
show.
3, fucking watch episode 3.
Episode 3 is
incredible.
We're talking about The Last of Us now. It's
Yes.
absolutely amazing. I loved it. Could have been a whole movie. It should have been its own standalone movie. But
Ben
that
Shapiro
would've
didn't
won an
like
Oscar.
it, so I'm going to skip it.
did he not like it?
Yeah.
He came out publicly to say he didn't like it.
Yeah, something to do with zombies. I felt very misled.
Oh, I was uncomfortable because men were suckling each other.
Let's take a little detour for a second.
Wait, I'm talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
I can't remember what I was saying anyway, so go ahead. I'll come back to it.
You're talking about Last of Us, superfan Giovanni.
Giovanni. So he's Giovanni. I'm like, I don't know if I'll be watching. He's like, it's only gonna be 2 seasons. I'm like, I don't think that people are losing their shit. They're saying it's the greatest fucking thing ever. They're going to stretch this out. They're going to make this into at least 3, 4, or 5 seasons. He's like, I can't. It's impossible. It's based on a video game. It's only gonna be 2 seasons. I'm like, no, Gio. It's doing really well.
Yeah.
It's
Thus,
a cash
it'll last a long time.
They are going to stretch it however they can. Gio's like, nope, it's impossible. It cannot be done. As though I'm saying like they figured out how to extinguish the sun. It's happening next week. And Gio's like, no, so yes, I just got. I think Google alerted me.
Reanimated Marlon Brando, and he'll be starring in. Nope, can't be done.
Somebody alerted me. It's on my phone. My phone tells me too many things I don't give a shit about. It'll just chime, and I'm like, I don't care.
Oh, Jillian, next.
It's not my wife. It's things in the Renner. Out of the fucking blue, I don't have things on. It's Jeremy Renner introduces the world to his dog. I didn't ask to know about that.
Does he still have his legs?
He's missing one. So
Is he?
yeah, they had to amputate one of Jeremy Renner's
Really?
legs.
When did that come out?
I don't think
A month ago.
How did I miss that?
Google that, because I think this is bullshit.
No, it's not. It's totally true. So, anyways, yeah, it let me know that good news.
They amputated his leg.
Yeah, they did a month ago. No, I'm talking about The Last of Us. They're good news. The Last of Us, there are multiple. It's going to take multiple seasons to tell the full story.
And then Jeremy Renner news.
All right, so I'm sorry that got conflated. Those two things got woven together just now. We meshed with one another. I wasn't saying that it was good news that Jeremy Renner lost one of his extremities.
Still to be confirmed.
And Gio, please, Gio, I don't need a 9-page email telling me that I'm wrong because Google told me. All right, Google told me.
I'll give you a 1-sentence.
How many legs did Jeremy?
Jeremy Renner debunks leg amputation rumors. Confirms he will be back to the pinnacle of health.
There we go.
Oh, is that true?
Yes.
That's Anderson.
Oh wait, really? Good.
So as of now, Jeremy Renner has 2 legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
2 legs.
don't know if I saw it in Line of the Market or if it was one of my Google alerts, but I just thought, I'm like, oh, that's so sad. That's so sad that they had to remove his leg.
No, he broke 30 bones though.
I got to get TMZ back. I think he broke some others.
Oh, okay.
What about his dog? Is that true? Was he introduced to the world?
His dog had all 4 legs amputated.
They got to call him Drag now.
How many legs does Jeremy Renner's dog have?
They got to call him Cigarette because every now and again he takes him out for a drag.
That's good.
That's what you call a dog with no legs. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Is this a movie? Is this a movie show?
This is what used to happen on Loveline.
Are we trying to entice people to listen to the Walties?
I don't know how that was in my brain as fact that he lost his leg.
Well, rumors were flying. You weren't the only one.
But I'm not on Twitter looking for this shit. I don't go looking for any of this stuff. It just pops up.
You are. Take this in the nicest way possible.
Oh, here we go.
You are a serial repeater of misinformation.
I agree. I don't know how that happens, but I agree. I totally agree with that. I'm a dangerous. When I get older, and if I were on the socials, the amount of bullshit that gets one of the many reasons why I'm not on social media. It's
Smart.
I don't like people to say mean things about me, and I don't want to see all the misinformation out there and then parrot it.
If you were 70 on Facebook right now, you would be.
He's gonna follow one person, Snopes, just debunking myths.
And I get enraged with that shit. When COVID started, I can't tell you how many of my friends sent me text, not even family member, sending me text messages saying just blow some. You got the COVID? This trick works 100% of the time. Hair dryer up the nose for 30 seconds. It's what the fuck? No, and I got that from multiple people. So if you're listening to this, because I love you. One person who I know who might be listening to this, because I know you started listening recently, which troubles me, but I know you're one of the people that sent it, and nothing against you. Other people sent it as well, okay? All right.
And please don't get your leg amputated.
And please don't, because I will tell everyone that you have both legs. They're healthy. I'm very happy. That's fucking great. That's great news. I was very sad for that man.
Oh, see, now we're back.
Okay, cool.
Hey, speaking of which, tell me what I should do here. We have a group text with some friends, and around March 1st, 2020, Christy texted, "Hey, I've been hearing about this flu that's going around, and you should really be careful. And apparently they're going to start shutting things down, and everyone just be careful out there." And one of the friends, who we're still friends with, replies something to the effect of like, "Oh, these things go around all the time. They're trying to scare people. It's absolutely nothing. It makes me sick that they do this." And I still have that text. And I'm wondering what I should do with it.
Well, first of all,
It's very funny in retrospect.
it's strange. Oh, that's from COVID.
March. It was like March of 2020.
And you're still friends with Dr. Drew.
It is not Dr. Drew.
Oh, was it?
It is someone you know.
I mean, a lot of the time, they would have been right most of the time.
True.
In human history.
But this time they're epically wrong.
But
Historically, epically wrong.
I mean, I don't think they were wrong in saying that they believed that, because they weren't alone either. A lot of people believe that.
Yeah.
I was not one of those people. I remember exactly where I first read about it. It was early January. I was actually up north in Central California. We'll get to Akira in a second. Akira. Andrew Potts.
And we're combining movies.
We're going to get back there in a second. But I was up in Central California, and I read about it. And but my reading disability caused me to believe for weeks that it was carnivorous.
Oh, carnivorous.
Which I think is
like a flesh-eating
That
bacteria?
sounds much scarier.
carnivorous. I think is something for pets, so that you put in their food or something. That on Coast to Coast, remember that show with Art Bell?
Yeah.
They would schlock that shit over there all the time. So carnivorous is a real thing. But I'm like, honey, I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, this carnivorous, I'm reading about it. It could be the real deal. Like, this could fuck some shit up. And she's like, honey. I'm like, no, it's kind of fucked up in China right now. Like, carnivorous might be like something we'll all forever remember. Carnivorous, like where we were when we first heard about carnivorous. Turns out it was coronavirus, which is very different from carnivorous, but my brain doesn't read too good.
Oh, let's not calling it that.
Carnivorous.
I still like coronavirus.
Coronavirus is pretty good, yeah. Hey, can we and I've talked about this before, but I still see it, and it's frustrating as fuck. COVID-19. Can we just say COVID? COVID tests here.
I think at this point,
COVID boosters here.
COVID is the proprietary eponym of COVID-19.
New signs are still showing up, like in places that I frequent, where it says COVID-19. Frequent tests, rapid tests found here.
Frequent tests found.
Frequent tests. All right, let's round this episode out. I've embarrassed myself enough.
Frequently tested.
All
right, finally, assigned to us by.
And you still don't have names.
I don't have it in front of me.
Andrew
What?
Potts.
Andrew Potts.
Andrew Potts.
You're lying, right?
Assigned us.
No, he's just not looking at it anymore.
Part of the bit. Assigned us Akira, 1988's Akira, directed by Katsuhiro Otomo. 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is streaming on Hulu. Good news. You got the subtitles and you got the dub version. Oh, it's a plethora. Although you passed along a request.
Not a request. It was a listener assignment. So he
passed
paid
on
good
a
money
request
for
about
6 months to assign us a movie, and he assigned us specifically the subtitled version of Akira. Ah, Jesus Christ. The way that they pronounce
Akira!
it. Akira. Yeah, Akira is how you say it properly. So the dub sounded a lot like Charlie Brown. I checked in. I listened to like 15 minutes or so. I went back and forth to do 2 different files. It was woefully bad, Brian. Really, really bad.
I'm proud to say I don't even know because I adhered
Good job,
to Andrew
Brian.
Potts' request
good.
/ assignment, and I watched the subtitled version of Akira from 1988. This is set in 2019 Neo Tokyo.
Yeah.
So this is a futuristic sort of noir thriller. Lots of elements of Blade Runner, lots of elements of X-Men, lots of elements of The Matrix, and of course Looper. Now this came before most of those movies, so you have to imagine it's pretty influential.
Very influential, yeah. Also, shades of Clockwork Orange for sure, with the ne'er-do-wells and the kids who
Sure,
are kind of like forgotten by the system and kind of
left for their own devices.
So yeah, it was a really fun conversation that I had with Andrew about this yesterday because he's seen it a number of times, and I'm like, I need a little help here because this movie is confusing as fuck. Like, I had a hard time.
There's a lot going on that doesn't
what's-
track a normal, series of plot events.
So it's based on a manga, and forgive us, guys. All right, this is a blind spot. This is not why we got into watching movies and loving movies, and I love stories, and I totally appreciate anime. And I just have never gone deep dive. And recently, Bryan and I have been watching more of these at your behest, the listeners. And I see what we're missing. I'm imagining seeing this on the big screen, like especially back then, when nothing like this had ever been out.
Caught in the theaters.
The soundscape alone was amazing. The story, though, did not grip me. I was not like held by the story. I was impressed by it, but I did not care about any of the characters. So that's a strike against it.
Yeah, the characters were maybe the weakest part, but I thought I enjoyed this a lot. I opened my eyes to some new ideas. This might be the rare film that you found more confusing than me. I was actually tracking it,
really?
as bizarre as it was.
Yes.
It involves multi-dimensional existences and et cetera, et cetera.
There was a lot of that, and like rapid flesh growth and very rapid exponential flesh growth, and scientists watching remotely somehow, and very old children, very, very old children kind of appearing, lots of bloodshed. Not the kind of
that
thing
was
you'd
kind of
want
an
to watch.
earlier part right there.
So it's post-apocalyptic. Like there was a second nuclear bomb dropped at some time in the 80s, I guess, as the story goes, in Tokyo, right? And this is the fallout 30 years later, right? Is that
Neo Tokyo is
30 years.
Has sort of been rebuilt, but also not really. I mean, it's fallen to disrepair.
Yeah, it's kind of a dirtier, uglier, more I
mean, imagine Blade Runner. It's a very good comp.
A whole lot of government oversight, and this is more of the Godzilla in a sense, because to have a bomb of that magnitude dropped on not one but two of your cities not that long ago in the 40s, right? You're still going to be very cognizant of that and what it could
fallout,
do.
No pun intended,
and the fallout,
is very long.
So that's what that's where Godzilla came from, and then something like this, which has a whole lot to do with radioactive trauma, right? So I don't even know how to break down the story.
I don't know that we should. I mean,
it's about a couple. It's about motorcycle gang essentially who gets caught up and involved with all of this. They have the old trope of the government trying to weaponize these strange phenomena.
There are sort of mutants. I couldn't tell if some were tracked by the government or created by the government, because some have like numbers tattooed on their hands. You know what I mean? They're clearly at one point being studied and or fostered by the government.
That's what I'm saying. It was hard to track. In talking to Andrew, he let me know that this was based on a 2,000-page manga. Sorry, goddamn. I practiced that too.
Magnum.
Liquid hot manga.
MAGA. So it's a MAGA. Trump wrote this. Yeah,
make anime great again.
Yeah, make anime great again.
What is a manga?
But yeah, so it's based on a 2,000-page manga. They started making this before I think that story was even completed, which is kind of par for the course. They do that very often. And evidently, with a follow-up email that he sent me, it also it was the biggest thing ever seen at the time, but also it kind of came out kind of bankrupt, and they spent so much money, and then it didn't do as well as they wanted it to because the economy was having problems, and it was an arms race for bigger and bigger budgets, and then this monster comes out and it tanks the industry, coupled with a recession in Japan. Says Andrew.
I didn't know that.
So there's a video that he also had linked to it, but who has time for videos when we got the Vaulties?
That's right.
Hours and hours of research going to the Vaulties. So, hey, I am very happy to have seen this.
Yeah, same.
I can't imagine what this must have felt like and looked like in 1988 when it came out.
Even by today's standards, this has great style. Violent too. Like there's a lot of blood.
A lot of blood. Yeah. It was good. It had me hooked. However, like I said, it just did not have me caring.
It also didn't. Maybe I'm judging it by modern American cinema standards. It didn't give me enough breadcrumbs. You know what I mean, to really follow the story or the background or what had happened, what was going on.
I think it's a companion piece to the people who are already watching.
I guess if we're reading the 2,000 page
manga. Yeah. So there's that.
That's a minor quibble though. It was a good movie. I'm glad I saw this.
I'm looking forward. I think we got 3 more coming up in the next couple of months. Some of the big heavy hitters too. So that's cool. That's cool.
That's how you're gonna leave it.
Sorry, I'm
That's cool.
trying to find his
That's all right.
the link that he sent me actually doesn't work anyways. So that's good. It's just an ad for VRBO.
Thank you, Andrew Potts, for assigning it to us. If you want to be in a
close enough.
That's all it is. It's an ad. Like I watched the goddamn VRBO ad and then
nothing.
What if
Nothing.
this is an elaborate campaign for VRBO?
wow.
Good way to get a plug.
How is am I not knowing how to use YouTube anymore? Have I become this old?
It's a good thing you're on social media.
All right, I'll have to talk to you about this, Avery. I mean, yeah, it's a link for VRBO. Wait,
Guerrilla
VRBO
marketing.
has 35. Oh, that's 35,000. I thought it was 35 million. All right, never mind. Let's get the fuck out of here. What am I doing?
All right, the big Vaulties coming up next. If you're listening all of one episode, if not, later this week. Actually, Anderson,
Yeah.
I have a fourth movie,
Do you?
but I'm going to save it.
Can't wait to talk about it with you next week.
I'm going to save it for the Vaulties.
I mean, I have a fourth and fifth. Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's
I
exciting.
have a
Yeah.
movie that's going to make its Flickfession
Have I seen
debut. Not unless that's a big surprise to me. No, you haven't seen it.
Did it come out in 2022?
Yes,
That'd
it
be a
did.
real twist.
Yeah, that'd be a real pull the wool over their eyes.
Not so much with you, though. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if you're like, it's a 2021 movie, but hear me out.
I saw it.
Hear me out.
It was re-released.
It felt like 2022.
It did, actually. Avery, you looking at my notes?
These movies that I have on my top 10 list, by the way, they're from all throughout the year, and some of them,
That adds up.
I mean, what I'm saying is not like all award season movies for sure, all varying budgets. Really hurt me to leave a few of these off, but I'm excited to share them with all of you and with you, Brian, and you, Avery. I'm excited.
We're going to cover a
Mine's
lot
Fast
of
and
movies.
Furious 5 times.
All 5 times? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do you have like the first showing was your favorite, or was it your third showing the favorite, number one?
One, you can't top the
Can't
first time you
replicate
saw
that.
Tyrese Gibson fly a car into space.
Thanks, Andrew Potts, for signing us. Akira! Very enjoyable and very edifying to our film education.
Notes, very few notes, as you like to say.
Yeah,
with
no many
Akida.
notes, no many
I
notes.
was going to write like I'm confused.
Well, also, I
Not
was
sure what's
afraid of
happening
missing Die Hog. Anderson and Bryan is where you go to find information on Mystery Kid. That's our featured artist this week. AndersonandBryan.com has tons of stuff for except apparently the link to the Oscar pool.
Yeah,
but it has a lot of other stuff. It has a link to our Amazon click-through banner, which we appreciate you guys using. Anderson and Bryan is the Instagram. Anderson and Bryan is the TikTok. The Film Vault on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube is the Film Vault podcast.
Shazam's the big. Oh, we gambling?
Isn't it next week?
We're doing that
The
on
next
Vault
episode.
insert.
Well, we pay off the Oscar bets.
Normally,
Okay.
we would do the Oscar bets in lieu of, but since we're doing the win the month, maybe it could be like the tiebreaker, the fourth or the fifth movie or whatever, if it comes down to it. Thanks, Patreon listeners. Love you. Appreciate you. Hope you had fun with our Oscar watch along. You can check that out if you're at the $10 level. That's available to you. Thanks to Giovanni, Mitch Burns, Mike Cole, and Eric Kath. Appreciate all you guys. Maddie's Antiques is selling off-brand merchandise. Check them out on Facebook.
Addie's Antique.
Maddie's Antiques. And until next time.
We do it for Van Gogh.
MC's throats and drink 'em up like light beers. I'm odd, not even. Make you stop breathing. I'm all grown up now. I wanna stop.